my goodness, this Project 2025 chatter is getting louder and louder and louder by the second. People are very concerned about this document, okay? I first heard about it from Taraji P. Henson. I'm not gonna lie about it. Taraji let me know. Jody, my Jody, that's right. Taraji of Baby Boy fame spoke about it when she hosted the BET Awards, and she said Project 2025 is not a game.
The Project
Look it up.
2025 plan is not
I
a
said,
game.
oh, okay. And then I said, let me look it up then. Let me do my research on this document, because Taraji is a very impactful artist. Yes, she is. When she made the tacos for Jody, I thought that was one of the best scenes in cinematic history. Anyway, so I said, let me get my glasses on, let me do my research. And then I found out that this document is over 900 pages. And I said, you know what? I got grits on the stove. I just don't have the time. I put it in the back of my consciousness, but then it just kept coming up. Someone emailed me about it, inboxed me about this Project 2025 piece, and it all comes from a very concerned place, a very alarmed place, and people spoke about how horrifying this document is and how this document is in fact going to set us back. Now, before I get further into it, I want to just briefly describe what this thing is. And it was something created by the Heritage Foundation, and it is about how they're going to alter the executive branch and education and alter all of these things. It is the agenda, the Republican agenda, should a Republican, one Donald Trump, be elected. Okay. Donald Trump has since distanced himself from that document. However, people are still very skeptical about it. People are rubbed the wrong way about it. And people keep talking about how bad this thing is. Now, let me tell you something, man. I'm a critical thinker, as you all know. If you are a part of the awkward Black tribe, that means that you don't get swept up in emotion. You do your own research to draw your own conclusion and create your own journey. Now, I have not read the 900-page document. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you all. But I did read an article. That's more my speed. But I read an article in USA Today. It came out yesterday, and it is called Project 2025 Looks to Alter U.S. Education. I read it. It's centered on people and how the implementing of Project 2025 would change their relationship with education. And the conclusion that I drew was that this is not horrifying to me. This also doesn't strike me as being ultra conservative either. Now, before I get into the actual article, I understand it's a 900-page document. It covers a lot of things. If there are some things in there that make you cringe or are racist or offensive or whatever it is, whatever is causing people to be so disturbed, go ahead, make it plain and drop it in the comment section right now. It's all good. I'm open to expanding my consciousness and hearing different interpretations. It's cool. But judging from this article that I read, I am not afraid of Project 2025. With no further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so the article is written by one Zachary Shermelli, and off the top, It says, high on its list is abolishing the education department and establishing a national parent bill of rights to give conservatives more control over what their children learn. This is me, man. This is my English degree. And this is my ability to really dissect things and break things down and look for tone. I'm constantly questioning everything that I read in my head. So when I read that sentence, I said, oh, okay, it's going to give conservatives more control over what their children learn, but shouldn't everyone want more control over what their children learn? How is that relegated to just conservatives? It goes on to say further in the introduction, they denounce the steep cost of higher education. I do too. I think it's ridiculous that higher education is so expensive. Okay. And bolster the rights of parents over those of children and educators. They recoil at the notion of protecting LGBTQ plus students are backing built-in protections for marginalized communities. It says they bolster the rights of parents over those of children and educators. My antenna went up when I read that. I said, what kind of hierarchy is being projected by the writer of this article? The rights of parents over teachers and students. Everyone should be working together. The parents are the people that gave birth to the children, are the people that provide for the children, are the people that work for the children. So there's that. The children should be mindful of the parents, and the teachers should be a part of that dynamic, a welcome part of that dynamic, and everyone should be in proper communication with one another. And so it seems as though reading that sentence that they are suggesting that the students should have rights over the parents, or the teachers should have dominion over the parents. It's questionable to me what's being written here, what's being put out there. It says they recoil at the notion of protecting LGBTQ students or backing built-in protections for marginalized communities. Okay, built-in protections, I don't know exactly what that means, but I trust that this article will get into that. Protecting LGBTQ. So when I read that, I say, okay, this Project 2025, it doesn't want to protect LGBTQ students from what? What does this thing fail to protect LGBTQ plus students from? That's what I want to know when I read this, okay? Going into the part where they talk about the testimony of the people. They talk about a sister who has a son that has autism, and her concern is that her son, under Project 2025, her son who has autism wouldn't get the proper education, the public school education that he deserves, because Project 2025 would eradicate the program that pays for his education. All right. So I read in the article, and the article says, and I quote, Project 2025 proposes rescinding those rules completely. It also calls for removing enforcement of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, a landmark federal law that ensures students with disabilities are entitled to a free, appropriate public education. by education department officials and handing the task to the Department of Health and Human Services. This is so misleading. So what this does is it's passing who would cover the bill, is passing it from one department to another. It's not saying that no one's going to foot the bill and that this child is not going to get an education. It's saying that first this group was going to pay for it, but now we're going to hand it over to this department. Okay. All right. So I'm reading this article and I'm like, get to the part where I'm really shaken up. And that hasn't happened yet. It seems at this point like it's something that is being created just to make me move based on fear, to make me emotional. And then I get into the final section of the article, which talks about LGBTQ plus students being targeted. When I look at the word targeted, I think targeted as like violence, like targeted in what way? Targeted, that's a very, very strong word. How are these students being targeted? How are they being made to feel unsafe? This article goes on to say that Project 2025 veers hard in the other direction. It would allow schools to out LGBTQ plus students to their parents and define sex to mean only biological sex recognized at birth. Out students to their parents. Out students to their parents. What exactly does that mean? Out them to their parents. So are you saying that Project 2025 would say that if a student is changing genders or changing pronouns in class, at school, or a student is identifying as queer in school, that Project 2025 makes it so that person's parents would have to be informed? I don't see the problem with that. And I'll tell you why. I've worked in education for a very long time. If a student is not eating lunch, and if the teacher, I'm noticing this student not eating, the student takes a lot of trips to the bathroom, then they should then talk to the parents. Would you say that if they do that, then are they outing the bulimic student to their parents? Follow me here, just follow my logic here. Are they outing the anorexic student to their parents? If a student is smelling like alcohol, other students see the one student drinking, and the student looks as though they are impaired in class. And the teacher says, "Yo, we're going to call your parents. What's going on? You can't be drunk at school." Is that teacher then outing that student to their parents? Where do we draw the line in terms of what parents should know and what should be kept secret? Why are we creating an atmosphere where it is safe for teachers to keep secrets with the students? That feels very wrong to me. if you feel like the student might be abused at home, why don't you then create some kind of communication system, some kind of training in which you can explain that the student is queer or the student is questioning gender. You could explain that in a way that the student can express themselves to their parents through a mediator. The mediator may be somebody hired by the county. The mediator may be an on-site person, but there would be the student, there would be the parents, and there would be that mediator. And so everyone, make sure that everyone's voice and everyone's perspective is properly communicated, and we can go back to being a village. What frightens me, ironically, Project 2025 was a thing that was supposed to frighten me. But what frightens me is we're normalizing this world in which the student can be someone totally different at school, and the student and the teacher can have can enjoy a relationship and have a dynamic that is totally kept from the parents. That seems to me to go against the natural order of how a well-functioning society is supposed to act. Just to be straight, it feels really sick to me that you want to propose that as a progressive solution to students feeling safe. It feels to me as if teachers in schools are overstepping boundaries, and they want to be the ones who raise the students. They want to have control over the students at the expense of the parents. And that speaks of fascism to me when the government, when the state owns the minds, the souls, and the bodies of the young people, as opposed to that young person being a part of a family and a part of a village. And so, for those reasons, I look at the way that Project 2025 is being discussed as possibly being another example of fear mongering. But what do I know? Listen, I just read one article, and that is what I got from this one article. If you disagree, go ahead and drop it like it's hot in the comments section. And of course, subscribe to the tribe. Let me know what you think, y'all. Don't be mad. Let me know what you think. I suspect that I'm going against the grain here. I'm open to what you have to say. Until then, peace, tribe, and another.